Yo, 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 good morning. Good morning, my people. Here we go again. Here we go. It's the Road to a Million show. It's the Road to a Million show. I'm Daron Campbell, the hardest working man in real estate and your real estate mentor. We are on this journey, ladies and gentlemen. We call this the Road to a Million because we are on a journey together. It is the road to a million. What that means is it's the road to financial freedom, maybe primarily, but it's also about this level of balance we all want to achieve in our life. So we speak on this show on things pertaining to the brain, the body, and the bank account. And those are the three areas that I sincerely believe that are critical for you to have in check in your life in order to have a great life, a balanced life, a progressive life, if you will. And if you're not touching on all those categories, on all three of those categories in your life, if you're not constantly trying to improve each of those areas, then you're ultimately going to be lacking something. And so what I feel like it's my job to do is to maybe bring a little clarity on how you can get this much better in each of those departments. And if you can pull that off, you might be shocked at how much further down the road you get in a given year than you might have been. Look, are you feeling a little bit stuck? I mean, I know a lot of people that are feeling a little bit stuck in life and they're a little bit disenchanted, they're a little bit dissatisfied, and maybe even a little disappointed in themselves. And you're going to see a lot of that, and you're probably going to see more of it coming down the road than you have in the past because we're in the middle of in my opinion, maybe not the middle, we're in the beginning of what I think is a shifting marketplace. And so when I say a shifting marketplace, I mean a change in what we're seeing from a financial standpoint. Now, is that affected by politics? You can bet on it. Is that affected by, war and things that happen out there in the world? Absolutely it is. Is it affected by that by crazy things like weather and natural disasters? Absolutely. But I'm just here to tell you, and I don't know if you're hearing this or feeling this where you live and where you work, but the winds of change are upon us. And we are, in the year, this is 2019, and we are in the 12th consecutive year of economic uh, prosperity, if you will, an increase. And I'm here to tell you that most periods of increase, like the one we've just experienced, don't last much more than 8 or 9 years on average. And we are in year 12. We are in year 12 of economic increase. So not to rain on your parade, but this show is all about having you be prepared. You know that saying that I say all the time. I don't know who I stole it from, but you better stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Well, it's time for you to make sure that you are ready for the economic changes that are about to happen. And if you prepare yourself properly, then you can be in a position to benefit, believe it or not, during a recessionary period or an economic downturn. And the funny thing is that during the last recession, there were so many people who made millions of dollars and changed their whole financial fortune because they were ready for the recession. They were ready for what was about to come. And there are some ways you can get yourself ready. And then in the meantime, you should consistently, as part of that getting ready, is you should consistently be building your knowledge base. You should be consistently reading and consuming information, and then you should consistently be trying to get yourself, your health, your body, and your money straight. You should be trying to get those ready, get prepared to take advantage, because there are going to be some people who really, really prosper during a shifting market. And it's a strategy, but you gotta know going in that that's your strategy. You don't succeed in a changing economy by mistake. It just doesn't happen. You succeed on purpose. Success leaves clues. And so if I have a role in your life, maybe it is that I'm the one that's going to show you the clues. Now, who am I and why am I qualified to tell you any of this? Well, I have been in the real estate business as a professional real estate agent and an investor for 27 years now. And I have been fortunate enough to have closed just over $4 billion worth of transactions. No, I didn't buy $4 billion worth of real estate. And no, I don't have $4 billion in the bank. If I did, I'd be on my yacht somewhere and I would not be talking to you guys, at least not from here. So I've done a lot of transactions and I've been blessed enough to have made a good living doing it. But more importantly, right now, is that I want to use this knowledge and I want to share it with you and I want to kind of enlighten you a little bit so that you can be more prepared, so that you can be in that stay ready mode that we've been talking about. So let's get you ready so that you don't have to get ready a year or 2 or 3 from now when we're in an economy that looks a totally different way. Okay, does that make sense? So that's what it's all about. That's what the Road to a Million show is. That's what the Road to a Million is all about. It is why I feel like I need to come to you and help get you ready so that you can be prepared. So today, we're going to touch on all 3 of our pillars. We're going to touch on the foundation, and so we're going to start by talking to you about some concepts. I've heard a lot of different mentors of mine. I got a lot of adopted mentors. They don't all know they're my mentor, but I got a lot of adopted mentors that speak many times on the reasons or the ways that they've succeeded. I've been kind of a sponge for information from guys that I admire or people that I respect, or people that have accomplished a lot in their lives. And so I take copious notes. I'm always trying to find out, now, how did he do it? And then if I get a chance, I'll interview a guy and ask him directly how he did it. And if I have to read about it in his book, I'll read about it in his book. If I have to go to his seminar, I will write the check and go to his seminar, because I'm a studier. I'm a student of success. I'm a student of the successful, and I want to mirror what they do. See, look, there's really nothing new under the sun. You've heard that saying before, and that's the truth. If you really want to make something spectacular happen, why don't you model somebody who's done something spectacular? It's really kind of an interesting concept, but it's not that original. But guess what? All of the masters have done that. Even people who you consider like super duper innovators, what they typically have done is they've taken a concept that somebody else had and they put another twist on it. They put another layer on it. They put another level of perfection on it. And maybe it was a totally different product or maybe a different idea, but it was built on the same principles. And so if you take that kind of mentality, what that'll do is that'll make you put your antennas up at all times. You'll be like, your radar will always be alert, because you'll be looking for an idea where you can add value. And you don't have to be the inventor of Microsoft. You don't have to be a complete Henry Ford innovator. I'll tell you a secret about Henry Ford. So a lot of people think Henry Ford invented the car. He did not. He saw a good idea and he took it and mass produced it, made himself a bloody fortune. But someone else had invented the concept of a motor vehicle, and he took it and he added to it. He took it and he perfected it. Maybe there's something right in front of your face that you know how to do, or that you have access to, that you could take and go, hey, wait a minute, he's on to something there. He tweaked it. You tweak it and you make something better out of it. You see, I want to talk to you. The first segment of the show is about the brain. We're going to talk about the brain. We're going to talk a little bit about the body. We're going to talk a little bit more about your bank account. But today, let's start with the brain. And I want to break down for you what mastery is built on. So like when we look at certain people as masters of what they do, whether it be Oprah Winfrey or Bill Gates or Warren Buffett or Michael Jordan. These people all exhibit mastery. They have gotten to a point of mastering their craft. They're mastering their vocation or occupation. And I want to show you, I'm going to break down a little bit what that mastery is built on, what it's made of. And it's not when you break things down into components and pieces, it doesn't get as intimidating. It doesn't feel as intimidating as going like thinking to yourself, oh, I got to go from zero to Oprah Winfrey. No, you don't. You just got to go from zero to step one. Because Oprah only went through steps and stages until her mastery became who she was, but it was something that she built in stages, in steps, in components. And if you can put the components together the right way and stick with it, you can become the master of something yourself. And so what I want to do is I want to break down the steps that accumulate to make you a master. So you go from zero, where you might be today, all the way to the master of your craft, or the master of your idea, or the master of your world. There are stages and there are steps, and so this first segment of the show, I'm gonna go through the stages or the steps to mastery. And it might sound a little philosophical for you, but if you think about it real hard, it just gives you bite-sized chunks that you could digest and know that you're on the road, you're on the right path, you're on the right you're taking the right steps. You're on the right road in this road to 1,000,000. Let's get you on the road by breaking down what mastery is made of. How about that? All right. So what I think we'll do right now, because I just told you what I'm going to tell you, and then when we come back from this short 2-minute break, then I'm going to tell you what I told you I'm going to tell you, and then maybe later on I'm going to tell you what I told you. so let's take a little break. It's going to be about 2 minutes, and then we'll come back and we're going to start breaking down the components of mastery. I'm Daron Campbell. This is the Road to 1,000,000 show. We'll be right back. Here we go. Here we go. We are. Am I back? Am I back? All right. All right. Here we are. We're back. If you didn't notice, we are in a brand new, ridiculously hot studio, you guys. Check this out. I don't mean hot temperature wise. I'm nice and cool in this chair, but look at the new scene. Look at our new space. This is exciting, exciting stuff. We're in a brand new studio, all decked out, all lit up with cool lights all the way around, kind of some cool, vibey colors. It feels successful in here, ladies and gentlemen. I think the road to success is stepping up its game. We're getting better, and Speedy and Nick and Rollout Studios are hooking us up the right way, and our trajectory is good. This is the Road to a Million show. I'm Daron C. Campbell, the hardest working man in real estate. I am your real estate mentor. We're on the road to financial freedom, and that's important because there's too many people stuck. There's too many people left behind. There's too many people left out, and I have declared myself the general, the leader of the financial revolution. We need to become financially free. There's too many of us that are struggling and striving and not participating in all the great things that life has to offer. And here we are in the land of opportunity. Do you feel like your opportunity has passed you by, or do you feel like somebody never even told you what your opportunity was, or somebody didn't show you your opportunity? Well, here I am. I'm here to lead you to the financial promised land. So what we want to do, though, is we want to also always think about completeness and live a complete, balanced life. And so with that financial freedom, I think it's imperative that you also expand your mind and you take care of the physical, the temple, your body, your physicality. So that way, when you do reach, and I think they're all interrelated, by the way. I think if you have a healthy balance of all three of those things, then you find success will come to you quicker. You'll find that you'll be a magnet for great things. And I think if you think holistically like that, you'll find that path gets smoother and smoother, and you get to move faster and faster, and your successes become multiplied. Anyway, so today on the Road to a Million show, we are talking about in the brain department, we're talking about mastery. Now, mastery is an interesting thing because I think a lot of people don't even think about mastery very much. And I think it's important for you to always be thinking about mastery, because the people that are paid the most, meaning the people who earn the most, meaning the people who have the greatest net worths on this planet, tend to have mastered something. I mean, you think about it. I mean, just let's think about some real usable examples. You think of Oprah Winfrey. What if I ask you, what is Oprah Winfrey? What is she a master of? You could probably tell me. Most of you could tell me. She is a master interviewer. She is a master reader of people. She's also become a master philanthropist. But if you think about it, where did Oprah start? She started out with this passion, with this desire, with this goal of just having an impact by doing what she liked to do. She went to journalism school and became a reporter. Now, trust me, listen to me. Oprah Winfrey, when she became a reporter for the local news station, didn't plan on being the wealthiest woman on planet Earth. That was probably beyond her wildest dreams. What she did plan on doing was being very, very good at that thing she loved. And she learned that interviewing people and being out there, interacting with folks and having meaningful conversation, and eventually her reporting took her to an anchor position, and that anchor position took her to a talk show position, and that talk show position took her to her wildest dreams. But what did she do first? She mastered her skill set. Now, her skill set, here's what's important, you guys, very important. Her skill set is not necessarily your skill set. I may not be a great talk show host with celebrities or I might not be a great news reporter, or you might not be a great jump shooter. And I'll tell you this, that's an easy one for me. I can't do what Michael Jordan did physically or otherwise. So that was his department. And Oprah has her department. And I just saw something about Tyler Perry, and he has his department. And Bill Gates obviously had his lane, his department. So here's the thing. While there is nothing new under the sun, not all of us are equipped to run in the same lane as some of the people we see. I think a lot of us, we watch these famous personalities and we watch these wealthy people, and then we try to emulate them, whether or not we've done the homework to decide if that's where we could have meaningful impact. See, my man Nick is here running the studio, filming this show, and he's good at it. But now if we switch places and Nick sat here and he said, Darren, you run those cameras and make sure the sound is right, make sure the focus is right, and make sure the view is correct and the colors and all that are right, I wouldn't even know where to begin. I don't even know how to turn on the on switch to the camera, right? So I got my lane, he's got his lane, you got your lane, and here's job one in the mastery department. You gotta figure out what your lane is. You gotta figure out what your thing is. You gotta sit down sometime. And I don't know how old you are, but it's time you did it, because I don't care how old you are. The sooner you figure it out, the better your chances are of becoming great. So, exercise number one, you have to decide in what area am I best equipped to have impact? Oh man, that's a great question. That is a great question. In what area am I best equipped to have impact or add value? You see, in this world, I'll tell you something, and it's something you should always remember. We get paid in direct proportion to the value we add. Now, in your life, you got to ask yourself, okay, what am I getting paid? And you look at your paycheck or look at your bank account, and then you can directly correlate that. I guarantee you, your bank account is reflective of the amount of value you have added to the world so far. And it's, it's really like the perfect measuring stick. You see, if, who was it? Somebody just signed a crazy contract. Who was it? Oh man, I was just reading about this and now I can't even remember. Well, anyway, let's just go back. Let's take, for example, somebody who we know has or had a crazy contract. Let's talk about A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez. He's a good example because when he was this home run hitting shortstop, now I got a better example. A-Rod is a great example from years ago, but the kid Bryce Harper, is that his name? Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper just signed a $400 million baseball contract. Now, you might say to yourself, $400 million, that doesn't make any sense. Who deserves $400 million? Well, let me tell you, the owners of the Philadelphia Phillies have decided that Bryce Harper, with what he does on that baseball field, warrants guaranteeing him $400 million in return for what they seem to get. So clearly, do you think the Philadelphia Phillies think that they're going to get more than $400 million worth of value out of Bryce? You can bet your rear end they do. So between the ticket sales that are going to happen because Bryce Harper is on the team and the extra wins that team is going to have because they got this superstar on their team, and the television exposure that the networks are going to want to have because this kid that everybody wants to watch is on this team, they've decided he's worth $400 million. So you see, it's not about does that make any sense or not. Why should somebody be making $1 million a week or more to play baseball? It's not that. You're asking the wrong question. The question is, how much value is Bryce Harper delivering to that organization? And they have decided he's bringing enough value to warrant $400 million. Does that make sense? Wow. I'll give you another quick example. Okay. Very, 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 this is a very high level. Let's just talk about it for a second. The Los Angeles Dodgers, great example because they're in the playoffs right now. The LA Dodgers, most recently, when they sold a few years ago, the team was bought by this group headed up by Magic Johnson and the Guggenheim Trust. They paid $2.2 billion for the LA Dodgers. At the time, it was a record number, and nobody could even fathom paying that amount for a baseball team. But here's the funny thing. So in the buyer's mind, it was like, we have a reason. We can warrant that price. And everybody else was like, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. But those buyers had in their back pocket a special reason why they thought it would be worth it. And you know what that special reason was? Got revealed like a month or so later. A television contract with, I believe it's with Fox, for 25 years and worth, I don't know, I think it was something in the neighborhood of $50 billion or some sicko number that made buying the team look like a joke of a number. It looked like a bargain when they were done. So you see, you got to understand that it's not about should somebody be getting that kind of money. It's about what kind of value is someone bringing to warrant that kind of money. So you know, a regular doctor might make $150,000 a year, but a heart surgeon might make $500,000 a year. You say, why should he get so much more than that regular doctor? Well, it's because that heart surgeon can do something that very, very, very few doctors can do. So he brings a special amount of value to the equation. Okay, now I said all of that just to tell you this. You have to make a decision as to what department, what lane are you able to add the most value in. And usually that lane is based on what you like to do, what you have a passion for, and really kind of what you have a propensity for. What are you able to do? Because look, life is like a poker game. We all get dealt a hand, and not all of us have been dealt the same hand. Am I right or am I right? So, for instance, when you say, hey, you know, I'll use me as a great example. Oh, man, I love football. I played football all the way through high school. Loved it to death. I played quarterback on the football team. But that was something I was passionate about, but I wasn't dealt the cards to be the next mega millionaire quarterback in the NFL. I was too short. I was too slow. My arm wasn't strong enough, so I could be good up until that high school level, and then beyond that, you know, I got to UCLA. They had a kid named Troy Aikman playing quarterback. They had no interest in talking to me. They wouldn't even let me on the practice field. So the fact is, I wasn't dealt pro NFL quarterback cards. I wasn't dealt those cards. So I could sit here and wish and dream and hope that I was the next great quarterback, but that wasn't in my cards. It wasn't going to happen. So if I started out with an unrealistic set of expectations, then odds are I was going to be sorely disappointed because I did not have the pro quarterback set of cards. I didn't have the height. I didn't have the speed. I didn't have the arm strength. Wasn't going to happen, okay? So what you got to do, and I know you might love the idea of doing certain things and being certain things. The unfortunate part about it for some of us is you got to make sure you were dealt those cards and that you have that within your range. I'll never try to limit somebody and what they can do. However, I will say that your best chance of becoming great and becoming a master is deciding in what area am I most likely to have impact. So I'll break that down one more time for you. Let me give you another example. Let's use me one more time. Here's what I do know. I know that, I was pretty much an A student through school. I know, and I've known that I've always been interested in economics and money. I knew that any class related to economics, money, accounting turned me on. I got excited. I love those kind of classes. I wanted to talk about money. I wanted to talk about, how to grow money, where money came from, how. So I majored in economics, right? A natural for me. Then what's the other thing? I clearly enjoy talking whether people are listening or not. So I figured I got this opportunity. If I see something that has money and my ability to speak to people, that's where I want to go. And so, matriculating through life, I quickly realized that a real estate agent is somebody who could make potentially a whole lot of money, and they do it by using their discussion skills, their negotiating skills, their verbal skills, if they got that, maybe that gift of gab, if you will. And I felt like, hey, you know what? Those two things marry up nicely for me. I love to talk. I love to talk to people. I don't mind selling at all. And I love money. And so I found a profession where I could help people grow their money, help people invest their money, all by using my personal gift, which is my ability to talk and my ability to communicate and my ability to even convince sometimes. So there you have it. That's how my lane was formed. So then I dove into that arena and decided I needed to become a master of sales. And I chose real estate to sell. And here we are 27 years later and $4 billion in transactions later, and it might have been a pretty good choice. As a matter of fact, it was a darn good choice. So this is step one in finding out where you will become a master. What is it you're good at? What is it you have a passion for? What is it that you could do that wouldn't feel like work? What is it you would do regardless of whether you're getting paid, and figure out how to add value there and get a paid component of it, and you will have found your dream job, your dream career, and maybe the thing that can make you your fortune. How about that? That's pretty interesting. So first step one, let's find your lane. Let's find where you will have an initial impact. So let's take a quick quiz. I want you to write down, answer this question. I am really good at fill in that blank. I am really good at, and I don't care if it's something trivial that you don't think somebody will pay you $1 million for. We'll deal with that later. But what is it you're really good at? Let's now answer question number 2, or fill in the blank number 2. I am really passionate about fill in the blank. I am really passionate about, okay? Answer those 2 questions. Let's start to figure out who you are and what you're made of and where you might need to aim yourself so that you can find greatness. And then watch, the money will take care of itself. Okay, now let's do the third one. I would blank even if I didn't get paid to do it. Ooh, that's a big one. I would fill in the blank. So I would blank even if I didn't get paid to do it. You know what I would do? I'll fill the blank in for you. I would speak in front of 10,000 people even if they didn't pay me to do it. I never met a microphone I didn't like. I love to speak. I love to talk. I love to ramble. I always call it levitating the crowd. I like to get people excited. Some people say I should have just been a preacher and called it quits. But listen, I wanted to do it. I wanted to take a different lane. So rather than sell Bibles, I decided to sell real estate. So the fact of the matter is, I would speak. You could ask me to come speak to your kindergarten, your kids' kindergarten class. I'd be on the first plane to do it because I just like an audience. I like talking to folks and anybody who will sit there and listen. So like maybe I have to give those kids a bunch of candy and make them sit there and eat it and listen to me. But I would speak to them. I'd do it happily. So you got to decide what is it you would do even if you didn't get paid to do it. Now, once you filled in those 3 questions, we're starting to get a direction. We're starting to get a hint of where you might need to aim yourself. And listen to this. It's funny because you can find, in many cases, you can start your mastery or your greatness path with a side thing, with a side hustle, if you will. Your passion could start out as a hobby that you do to try to get better at. Maybe you can give up an hour or 2 of Game of Thrones at night and actually start working on something that might turn into some money for you one day. How about that? I mean, the world is so small these days, ladies and gentlemen. You can find your way to anything. You can almost YouTube your way and figure out how to do anything. So let's talk about your passion. Let's talk about your desires. Let's talk about what you're good at. Let's talk about what you would do even if there were no money involved, and let's figure out where you ought to be going. Because you'll never be a master if you're not willing to do something without the compensation. Because most of us start without the compensation. You want to know how much my real estate job paid when I first started? One guess. Less. Nothing. It paid zero. Why? Because it was in sales. It was in sales. You had to sell something in order to make some money. Here's the funny thing. I even had to be a guy's assistant for no money. When I didn't even have a license. So they said, you want to be this guy's assistant? And I was like, yeah, I like that idea. I'll be his assistant. He's making big money. I'm thinking, this guy's going to write me a pretty good check every Friday to be his assistant. So I'm going to be his assistant. I'm going to see how he makes the big bucks. And, when I'm ready, I'm going to jump in, start making my big bucks. Well, guess what? He said, I said, yeah, I'll take the job. How much does it pay? He said, well, I'll pay for your parking permit. I was like, what? This cat. And then I was like, and? He was like, well, that's it. The job doesn't pay, but I will pay for your parking in the garage downstairs. I was like, well, there goes the banner. I was like, what? I was like, what the heck? I don't know if there was an earthquake or what. Oh, there goes the banner. Daron Campbell is now off the air. No, it's cool. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The road to a million just took a detour. They said, time for a new banner. Anyway, don't worry about it. Listen. So the guy, I'm going to finish the story. The guy says, no pay. I'm just going to, the pay is your education. I said to myself, well, that's a sucky deal. But you know what? I wanted to be in the business so badly that I agreed to the deal. I took the free parking and the no paycheck on Friday, and I said, I'm going to learn this business, but I don't have that much time because I'm going to run out of money before I learn this business if I don't hurry. And so what did I have to do? I had to dive in. So I actually did it for free because it took me about 6 weeks to get my real estate license. So while I was getting my real estate license, I was working for free for this guy who was making a whole lot of money and sharing none of it with me. But I was his gopher. I was his yes man. I was his parking attendant. I was basically whatever he wanted me to be while I was practicing to get that real estate license, studying to get my real estate license. So that's what I had to do. I actually enjoyed it. I did not enjoy coming home telling my fiance that I couldn't help with the rent, but I was enjoying the process. I was enjoying the education, and luckily, she let me. She propped me up for those few months when I made zero, and I'm happy to say it paid off, and it was a good investment on both our part. But look, I was willing to do it for free. Your question is, what would you do even if they paid you nothing to do it? There you go. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the other steps involved with mastery. The first one is deciding where you should be. What is your lane? What cards were you dealt? What are you passionate about? We're going to go deeper after this. I'll be back in 2 minutes. This is the Road to a Million show. I'm Daron C. Campbell, the hardest working man in real estate and your real estate mentor. We'll be back. And we are back. This is the Road to a Million show. I'm Daron C. Campbell, the hardest working man in real estate and your real estate mentor. We call this the Road to a Million show because we're on a journey. We're on a path. We're on a path to succeed at a level that maybe nobody taught us. That maybe we're going to learn a little bit something that mom and dad didn't know to teach us as children. And, there's a lot of simple wisdom that maybe a lot of us didn't have shared with us. And fortunately for me, for 27 years in the investment real estate business, I got exposed to a lot of things that my parents just didn't know how to teach me. Maybe you're one of those folks. Maybe you're somebody like me who, I'm just a kid from the south side of Chicago who, basically was in a world where people were just trying to get by and survive and make it. I mean, maybe you're a lot like me. Maybe not. Maybe you're one of those more fortunate people who came from a dual parent household and were somewhat more affluent. But, I wasn't that lucky, but I was fortunate enough to have some mentors. I collected mentors. And like I said before, some of them know they're my mentor and others don't know they're my mentors. They're authors of books and leaders of seminars and leaders of movements, and I follow them without them even knowing I follow them. So listen, we all need a mentor or two or three, and I collected my mentors from reading a book every 10 or 12 days and just trying to stuff my brain with valuable things. And here I am to share those valuable things with you. That's why we call it the Road to a Million, because it's a journey. It's not an instance. It's not a overnight, get rich quick scheme. It's not some easy thing. Everybody who has anything worth having has typically paid some kind of dues for it, and that usually it amounts to hard work. And if you're one of those people who's afraid of hard work, I got some sobering news for you. You're probably not going to reach the top of the food chain. You're probably not going to get disproportionate success in a world that's built for you to succeed. Believe it or not, this world that we live in was built for us to overcome, for us to succeed. And if you miss those opportunities, then you'll find yourself struggling your whole life. And, every generation can't say what I just said to you. I mean, think about it. There was a generation when people like me were enslaved, so they had no opportunity to graduate in life. And there were eras when, people were countries where there's a caste system, and if you weren't born into wealth, there was no way you were going to get wealth. And we are fortunately not stuck in that prison. We don't have that. We have the opportunity to use our minds and use the hard work that we can put together with some knowledge, and we can get somewhere significant in life. That's available to you. It's available to me. It's available to you, and we can win in this equation. So let's do this. Let's do this. So today on the Road to a Million, we're talking about mastery. We're talking about the things that set the really, really wealthy apart from the average Joe on the street. What is it that made Oprah Winfrey different? What is it that made Tyler Perry different? What is it that made Bill Gates different? What is it that made Michael Jordan different? And the answer, in a word, is mastery. They became the masters of their trade. And for lack of a better term, I'll call it a trade. But they became the master of it. So therefore, they could ascend to the highest level that trade would allow. Okay, so for Bill Gates, it's $97 billion. That's how high that ceiling is. And for Michael Jordan and Oprah, it's a few $billion. For you, what is it? You have to decide what it is you have a love for, a propensity for, a knack for, a passion for, and then you got to see if there's a way for you to utilize that, monetize that, grow that, and grow yourself. So again, you gotta treat it like a poker game, ladies and gentlemen. You gotta look at the cards you've been dealt, and then you gotta play those cards. So you see, if Michael Jordan weren't 6'6" and built like a beanpole, 6'6", lean and athletic, he couldn't have become Michael Jordan. He wouldn't have quite been the Michael Jordan we know. If Michael Jordan were stuck in Daron Campbell's body, he would have been 5'6" instead of 6'6", and then he probably wouldn't have been the greatest basketball player that ever lived. Why could he do it, whereas I probably couldn't have done it? I wasn't dealt those cards. So if I aspired to be the next Michael Jordan, it probably was not going to happen because I wasn't given the cards that said, hey, you probably need to be a tall guy. Hey, you probably need to be this world-class athlete, or at least have the ability to become a world-class athlete. And then you got to fall into the right places and get a little bit lucky along the way. But here's a secret for you. I'm going to give you a quick secret. This is the first secret of the day. The harder you work, the luckier you tend to get. Whoa, now that blows some people away, and a lot of people don't believe me when I say that. But the harder you work, the luckier you get. Trip out. That's real. Now, and try it. Try it. You'll be calling me in 6 months saying, oh my God, you were right. I tell my kids this all the time. The harder you work, the luckier you get. Opportunities will start to show themselves because you're working hard. You don't know where those opportunities are going to come from. I just say you give everything the best you have to offer, and opportunities will start to open. Doors will open. Windows will open. Try me. It's the best advice I could give you. All right. We're talking about mastery. So now once you've figured out where your passion is, once you've figured out what your game is, once you've figured out what your abilities are, then we got to take that and we've got to put it into something that you can grow. So again, I told you, I felt like early on, I had this love for money and finance. Secondarily, I felt like I had this ability to talk. I am a talker extraordinaire. I'm ready. Like I said, Nick and Marlon always laugh because I said I never met a microphone I didn't like. Give it to me. Let me talk. It's so funny. The first day I was on Speedy's show here in this studio, I was just coming to visit. I didn't even know I was going to be on the show. And next thing you know, I get introduced to Speedy. He goes, you ready? I go, well, ready for what? He was like, to be on the show. And I had to think about it for about 1 second. And I was like, yeah, let's go. Next thing you know, he says, what do you do? Well, that's all you had to do is hand me the microphone. And I can go. So what I did was I took my love for money and finance, and I married it to my love to communicate, my love for communication and speaking and talking. And I married it up and put it together and went into the real estate sales business. And guess what? Boom. The lights all went on that day for me. It's just funny how it worked because I was working this regular job, right? I was in the fundraising department. I was figuring out who the university ought to ask for the next gift. And someone talked to me about real estate. And I thought to myself, that's interesting. You can sell big stuff. You can make big commissions. And you do it by communicating what an opportunity is to someone else. And then so I walked into this, I decided I was going to do it. So I quit my job and decided to get my real estate license. But I walked into this firm, and the minute I walked into the firm, you know how the universe tells you some stuff sometimes? I had this tingle. I felt this tingle. I walked into this place. It was very, very sophisticated. It was a dressed up place. It was, oh my gosh, it was this corporate looking. It was the marble countertop in the reception area, and then the manager who was going to interview me walked me inside, and boom, this big wide open room with about 100 cubicles in the middle and about 30 private offices around the exterior, and it was so prestigious. The minute I saw this place, I got that tingle. You know what I'm talking about? You know when something is right and you get that tingle? I knew it. This was a commercial real estate company. It was an investment real estate firm. That was actually the exact term they used. Investment real estate. I just like the term. I like saying it even before I got the job. I was like, investment real estate. That sounded hot to me. It sounded big. Everybody in that place was in a custom suit. Everybody in that place was in a shirt and tie. Everybody in that place was moving around and talking to each other and negotiating. And I'm hearing a guy we toured me through the place. I hear one guy talking to another guy about a $33 million offer on this car dealership property. And then we go down the hallway, and I hear another guy talking to another guy about a 55-unit apartment building and how they were going to make that deal. And then we went and said hello to another guy who had just closed a $7 million transaction. And I said, well, what kind of paycheck was attached to that? And he said, well, he only made half of the commission. He made $210,000. I said, what? I said, that's the kind of payday we're talking about? He goes, yeah, but you got to understand, you only get paid if you sell those things and if you close them. I was like, okay, well, I want to learn. This is for me. That tingle was crazy for me. So here's what I'm telling you. The reason I tell you that story is you got to decide what your gifts are, what your passion is for, and then you got to look for the opportunity to use it and to grow it. And then the money will happen. You can figure out how to monetize just about anything. There's a guy out there somewhere that decided he had a propensity to designing ballpoint pens. He was good at making pens, and he knew how to make the cartridge good, and he knew how to make the frame perfect, and it fit the hand perfectly, and he knew how to make the pop-up thing spring properly, and he knew how to make it stylish. And he's out making $10, $15, $20 million a year probably. The guy who invented Mont Blanc pens is making millions. You know why? Because he decided that making pens was his thing. So when he started out going, I'm good at making pens, he probably didn't think, I can make a $300 pen and millions of people will pay me for it. No, he thought, I'm really good at making pens. Now let me go work on some more pens. Let me make another design for another pen. And then make another design for another pen. And then along comes this company that says, hey, man, you make really beautiful pens. Why don't we sit down and talk about contracting with you to make a lot of those pens, and let's sell them. But wait, let's not sell them like a Bic, 18 for $2 in a packet. Why don't we make them beautiful and custom? And why don't we charge people $200 or $300 for them? And he was like, you think we could do that? You think we could actually monetize a pen that I just made in my workshop? We could sell it for $300, man. That's impossible. That's unthinkable. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The Mont Blanc pen was invented. It was made. And guess what? They sell hundreds of thousands of $300 pens. But Darren, why would anybody pay $300 for a pen? I could go to Staples and I can get 18 of them for $2. Because there are people who will pay $300 for a spectacular pen. Now, why am I talking about pens? Why am I talking to you about a pen? I'm talking to you about a pen because somebody got really good at making a pen. He became a master of designing a ballpoint pen. And then once he mastered that skill, he and a group of people figured out how to monetize that pen in the most spectacular way. What's the moral of that story? He didn't start out going, I'm going to invent a Mont Blanc pen and I'm going to sell 1 million of them at $300 a pop. No, he first decided to become a master pen maker, and the money will follow. Become a master of something that you have a propensity, a passion, a talent for, and the money will follow. Now, you see, a lot of us want to wake up one day and have somebody say, I'll give you $1 million job. Here you go. Congratulations. But ladies and gentlemen, that's not usually how it works. The way it usually works is someone gets really, really good at something that they really, really have a strong passion or propensity or talent for. And then someone discovers their ability and their talent and their propensity for that and decide how much value that can add to the world, and then they get paid in proportion. Holy cow, Darren, you just stripped down the formula for success. You just taught the whole world how it's done. I just told you how millionaires are made. I just told you how somebody can pay another person $400 million. Why? Because they bring value that is at least that. We talked about Bryce Harper, the baseball player, in the last segment. Bryce Harper has a $400 million contract because the Philadelphia Phillies have decided he's worth at least that. Now, let's go backwards a little bit. Let's flash back 10 years. Where was Bryce Harper 10 years ago? Well, he was probably playing high school baseball. Was he even in high school then? He was in high school. He was probably practicing baseball 3 to 4 hours a day, even when the season was over. He was probably playing club baseball year-round, even when his high school buddies were off at the beach during the summertime. He was working on a craft, to do a skill, to play a game that he has passionate for, that he would do and did do for no money. You see, when Bryce Harper was 14 years old playing Pony League baseball, do you think he was thinking, I'm doing this because there's a $400 million contract coming? No, he did it for the love of the game. He did it to craft, to hone his craft. He did it because he was passionate about it. And if the money happened, then it would be that much greater of an investment. It would have been that much more intelligent of an investment. But if it didn't work out, he was still glad that he played baseball every day of his life up until, from the time he was 6 years old, maybe even earlier. He probably started at 3 or 4 years old. But the point is, he would have done it for free. My challenge to you is, what is it that you would do even if it were for free? If nobody promised you your $1 million paycheck, what would you do anyway? And then step 2 of this whole mastery process is repetition. You gotta do it over and over and over and over and over again. And here's what I found. If you wouldn't do it for free, you won't do the repetition that's necessary. If you wouldn't do it for free, you usually won't put in the time and the energy and the effort to become a master. There's this great book. Today's book, I'm going to put this book on your list. It's called Mastery. Mastery. I'll figure out who the author is in a minute. My team here in this booth can find out who the author is. But I read it 4 times already in the last 2 years because it tells you, it breaks down this formula that I'm telling you. But here's what the book says. The Mastery book says it takes a person, get ready, this is going to knock you out of your chair. It takes a person 10,000 hours of doing a thing before they master it. Before they reach the mastery level, it takes 10,000 hours of doing that thing. So, you know how you decided you wanted to learn how to play the piano a couple years ago? And you decided, well, I'm going to get really good at playing this piano. But not only do you skip your lesson, twice a month, but you don't practice at all when you leave the lesson? Well, let me tell you something. 10,000 hours is what it takes. 10,000 hours. How many baseball practices is that for Bryce Harper? How many days of practicing when there was no practice that he practiced anyway to get to that level? I guarantee you Bryce Harper has 10,000 hours of baseball under his belt. I guarantee you Michael Jordan has 10,000 hours of shooting under his belt. I guarantee you Tiger Woods has hit golf balls for more than 10,000 hours. Okay? So, mastery takes massive repetition, which means incessant practice, rehearsal, use of that skill, and then the skill gets sharp. And then you have the ability to do step 3, which is utilization. You can then use that skill. It's called utilization. Oh, and my man Nick just told me that Mastery, the author of Mastery, is Robert Greene. Thank you very much, Nick. Mastery by Robert Greene. That's the book of the day. You get that book and you read that book, it's going to break down for you how mastery is developed. See, many times you have to take a combination of what you were born with, what you love, and your ability to rehearse it, practice it, repeat it over and over and over and over again. Here's a funny fact: Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Tiger Woods, they're all the top of their game, the greatest that ever played the games, right? They were also known as the hardest practicers of those games. They practiced the hardest. Now, how is that? Michael Jordan's already better than everybody in the whole world, and he goes to practice an hour before anybody else gets there, and he stays an hour later than anybody else stays. What? I got a funny Tiger story for you. Tiger Woods was the number one golfer on planet Earth by a long shot, right? You guys remember that. And there was this golf tournament, and the first prize was something like $700,000. And Tiger won the golf tournament. It's 4 days straight. Tiger wins the golf tournament. He won by something like 11 strokes. That means he didn't just win. He obliterated the field. He kicked all their butts, right? It's Sunday night. The tournament's over. Tiger just got a $750,000 paycheck. It's raining outside. The country club is empty except for the janitor, and somebody is out on the driving range hitting golf balls in the rain. The janitor thinks something's wrong. He's like worried. He goes out to that driving range, and guess who's hitting golf balls, practicing in the rain after winning the tournament and $750,000 payday? Tiger Woods. Ladies and gentlemen, practice, 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 repetition, repetition, repetition. If you thought I was going to tell you mastery was made of something else, you're sadly mistaken. You got to take that passion, you got to take that skill set, the cards you were dealt, and marry it up with repetition, and suddenly you have the formula for your ultimate success. Oh my goodness, I gave you a little bit of wisdom on that one, didn't I? You didn't know that's what mastery was made of. You didn't know that's how the masters all did it, did you? Well, if you did, then you got to put that to work in your life. Listen, I'm not telling you got to go out in the rain and hit golf balls. I'm telling you that there's a sense of, sacrifice you have to really have in order to become the master of something. I have a buddy who recently sold his company, a company that all of you would have heard of. He recently sold the company for $240 million. The company's only 7 years old. Just sold it for $240 million. And the funny thing is, somebody said, how'd you do it? How do I do that? Man, that's crazy. Nobody can sell a company for $250 million in just 7 years. They say, what's the secret? What's the formula? He goes, when everyone else was watching TV, when all my buddies were at the bar, he goes, I was in the office working, trying to perfect this thing. And he goes, and when it got perfect, I hired some more people who were smarter than me to make it even more perfect. And then when we became number one in the industry, I hired some more people who were smarter than me at marketing. And then I hired some more people who were smarter than me at developing. And 7 years goes by, hard work. He goes, I was putting in 18, 19, 20 hours a day to make this the greatest product that this industry has ever seen. And the product 7 years later is a $250 million paycheck. Marinate on that for 2 minutes, people. We're going to come back after this break and talk a little bit more about mastery. I'm Daron C. Campbell, the hardest working man in real estate, your real estate mentor. This is the Road to a Million show. We'll be back in 2 minutes. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Here we are on the Road to a Million show. I'm Daron C. Campbell, the hardest working man in real estate. This is the Road to a Million show at roadtoamillion.com. We are talking mastery today, and we're having fun because we're talking about the steps that people take, that we could all take, to kind of get to this point of the word is mastery. And, you know, a lot of us take that word lightly. A lot of us don't even think about that word. But what I wanted to do today was break down what goes into what we call mastery and why it is that people who make obscene amounts of money, people who are obscenely wealthy, I wanted to break down what their processes are, what their, how do they go from, okay, I got a good one for you. How do they go from selling drugs on the street to becoming a billionaire rapper? You ever think about that? Well, it didn't just happen overnight, ladies and gentlemen. There are some very, very wealthy entertainers out there that you might not have had the privilege or the opportunity to see what they put into becoming who they are. A lot of people we all love to admire Jay-Z and Beyonce for all of the magnificence and wealth that they have created. But what a lot of us don't see is what built that empire of theirs, what has gone into that the building and the growth of that magnificent wealth that they have. And I'll tell you, for instance, let me give you a great example. So Jay-Z, let's talk about Jay-Z. Well, we all know, if you listen closely, Jay-Z, he had a life on the streets. He was a teenager doing whatever he had to do to make it in life. And that, some of that stuff might not have been legal. Some of that stuff was, kind of getting his hustle on, right? To do what he had to do. But all the while, once he discovered and decided he not only enjoyed hip hop music and enjoyed rapping, but he was good at it. He had a propensity for it. He had a penchant for it. He had a talent for it. And so when he figured out he was good at it and it came almost naturally, he started working towards getting better. And and he's a great example of somebody who has a certain talent that's perfect for a certain thing. See, Jay-Z is so built to be a rapper that they say it's true, and I don't know him personally, so I don't know if I can vouch or not, but they say he never writes his lyrics down. Everything he's ever done came off the top of his head and from his memory. You go, what? This guy's got hundreds of songs, ladies and gentlemen, with sometimes pretty complicated lyrics and lyrical patterns, and he never wrote them down. Now, look, what I'm trying to get clear with you on is having a talent for something really means having a talent for something. I don't know that I could be a rapper because I don't know. It doesn't come out of me like that. You get the impression that Jay-Z and a few others, Eminem, and so who are the lyrical geniuses? J. Cole, my favorite. These guys, they got a special way with words and a special kind of internal poetry that I think they were blessed with. And I'm not saying you can't learn to be great, but I'm saying some people have a seed of greatness in them for certain things that make it a much faster evolution, a much faster ride to the top because it's in them. Now, here's what I will say. All of us has something in us. Every one of us has something in us. Your job is to find out what that thing is. It's not necessarily what Jay-Z's thing is or was. It's what your thing is or is going to be. You see, people tend to be followers, and I think you got to try to be the opposite of a follower. When I say that, it doesn't mean you can't model someone's success. But you can only model someone's success successfully if you have similar tools and skills of that person. So I got no business making Michael Jordan my role model because I will never dunk a basketball. It ain't gonna happen. And so, there are people who the talent oozes out of them, and I contest or contend that you have some type of talent or passion or propensity to do something. The big task is figuring out what yours is. So we've been talking about that to try to get to the point of mastery. We've been trying to help each other become masterful. And that's where we're going. We talked about how you've got to decide what it is that you're built for. What cards were you dealt? And then we talked about how you need to spend a lot of time practicing that. A lot of time in repetition. 10,000 hours is what the book says you need to invest in order to get to that level. And that's usually after you already have a penchant or a propensity for that thing. You still got to spend the 10,000 hours. That's where most people fall off. That's really where the success hits the wall for a lot of people. They don't want to put in the hours. They don't want to put in the time. What is it that you're willing to put in the time for? I can tell you this. I'm a real estate agent. I'm a real estate investor. You want to know the most successful real estate agents I know? You want to know who they are? They also happen to be the hardest workers. So while some people look at them and sneer and point fingers and go, oh, well, no, that guy's, he's just lucky. No, they also happen to be the hardest working people in the business. Why? Because they're willing to work when no one else does. I know a guy, he's probably a top 10 real estate agent in the state of California. When I say top 10, that means he's making 7 figures or 8 even, maybe even 8 figures. But this guy, I'll tell you a little bit about his work ethic. The guy would get into the office around 6 a.m. When was the last time you saw your workplace at 6 a.m.? 6 a.m. he's in the office. He's staying until 8 or 9 p.m. Now, I don't know what his personal life is like. I don't know if that cost him, but all I know is he was determined to be the top real estate agent in the company and one of the tops in the nation. Well, okay, so there's that. So his Monday through Friday looked like that. And then when everyone else in commercial real estate and investment real estate, a lot of people don't work weekends because we don't do open houses and those kinds of things. Guess where he was on Saturday morning? In the office, catching up on paperwork. You know why he had to catch up on paperwork on Saturday morning? Because he didn't let paperwork take him away from working, producing revenue during the week. And that's dedication, ladies and gentlemen. And now that guy enjoys, a multi-million-dollar annual income from what he built. Did it happen overnight? No. He's been in the real estate business longer than me. This is probably his 33rd, 34th year in the business. Has he been making 7 figures or more for over 15, 20 years? Yeah. Do you think he thinks it's worth it? Yeah. Do you think he can have anything he wants now? Yeah. Do you think he could travel for a month at a time if he wants to now? Yeah. But he spent the time, ladies and gentlemen, mastering his craft. He spent the time mastering his craft and his skill set. Somebody said a cool saying, I borrowed it a couple times in the last few weeks because I liked it. It went like this. Someone somewhere is relaxing in a hammock under a really big shade tree today. But they're only there because someone planted a seed 10 years ago. Whoa. Somebody planted the seed for that tree. That tree is now big and strong and can support a hammock for someone to lounge in. But 10, 12, 15 years ago, somebody planted a seed where there was no tree. Someone came back and watered where there was no tree. There was nothing but a patch of dirt. Someone came back and fertilized a patch of dirt. Some people were looking at that person going, what is that guy doing, putting water and fertilizer on that patch of dirt? But what they didn't know, what they didn't see, was the seed for the tree that was being watered. What they didn't see was the plan this guy had to have a big, strong tree that can support a hammock in 10 years? What seed are you planting for yourself? What are you trying to master that could pay you big later on? Think about it. Time will progress. Time will go forward. The question is, will you be in the same place you are today when it happens? The question is, what are you doing to prepare yourself for your eventuality? Time is going to keep moving. Are you? All right, we're talking about mastery. We're talking about mastery on this show because we're on the road to financial freedom. I'm Daron C. Campbell. I'm the hardest working man in real estate. I'm your real estate mentor. I am the leader of the financial revolution. We're trying to take people and get them to a better place. There's too many people out there struggling. We are in the middle of a shift in the economy. Things are changing. Things are about to change. Are you going to be ready to take advantage? Are you going to be ready to get better, stronger, richer, healthier when this market shifts, as the shift happens? Or are you going to be like, uh-oh. I always say this. There's only three kinds of people in the world. There's only three kinds of people. There are people who make things happen. There are people who watch things happen. And there are people who wake up and go, what happened? Which one are you? Come on, ladies and gentlemen. We got to get ready. You got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. What about that? All right. Mastery. So I'm going to just give you, as we move on to a different topic, let me wrap up what mastery is all about. Mastery starts with initial impact. That's where you decide what it is that you're good at, what it is you're passionate for, what it is that you were built to do, and then let's find that lane for you. Remember the story about the guy who makes the pen? He was good at it. He just got good at making pens. And then the money, the monetization showed itself later. He didn't start out going, I'm going to make the most expensive pen in the world. He started out going, I'm going to make an awesome pen. I'm going to make a beautiful pen. I'm going to make a great pen. And then the money will follow. There you go. So what's your initial impact? What is your lane? Second, repetition. You're going to have to repeat and practice and practice and practice and practice. 10,000 hours, maybe. That's what the book says, 10,000 hours. Next is utilization. Third thing is utilization. How are you going to now take that thing that you're becoming a master at, and how are you going to use it, right? And that's kind of where the money lane starts to show itself. That's utilization. Next up is integration. That's when that company helps you figure out, hey, there's a way we could sell that thing. And maybe let's test it out. And let's figure out how high could we go with the price of that thing. That's called integration. That's where your thing becomes a valuable thing in society or to a company or to a person or to a group of people. That's called integration. And then the final step in mastery is reinforcement. You're reinforcing the value. And that's really where scale comes in, and it gets to be pushed out there and becomes a thing for the whole world to experience, or an entire segment of the world to experience. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the breakdown. That's the recipe for mastery. And I know it got a little deep there, but if you think about that, marinate on that, dream about that tonight, and you might start to identify your niche. You might start to find your niche. And, everything great that was ever invented came out of a need, and that need got, kind of filled by somebody who had a propensity or a talent for fulfilling that need. Phil Knight wanted to build a better pair of running shoes. He wanted a little better grip, but he wanted to be really lightweight. And so back when they were making these full rubber soles for running shoes, he said, wait, how can I make it a lighter surface? So he took a waffle iron and put the rubber compound in the waffle iron and essentially created the bottom of a shoe with a bunch of space in it. So therefore, it was a much lighter sole on the shoe. And he attached that with a very lightweight upper and invented Nike, ladies and gentlemen. He invented Nike with a waffle iron. But he was willing to go and figure out how to fill a need, and he loved to run. He was a runner. So he figured out, what could I do to help runners? And guess what he would have done? He would have worn those running shoes for free. He probably would have made his buddies a pair of those shoes for free. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure he did. Well, okay, he's only worth 20, 30, 40 billion now. But did he think when he took out a waffle iron, I'm going to be worth $25 billion? You think that's what he thought? No, he thought I love running. Let's make a better running shoe. What do you love to do? What are you good at? What is your skill set? What if you took that, figured out how you could make it a useful thing, add value to some segment of the world, and the money will follow? Isn't that amazing? There's a formula for success that's almost foolproof. Get really, really good at it. Figure out how to add some value and make it better. Make something better. Make something more easy for people to utilize. And the money will follow. Almost guaranteed. How about that? Almost guaranteed. You see, a lot of times we got to get a little bit lucky. You know, timing has to be right. The world has to be ready for certain ideas. Your job, figure out what you're good at. Figure out what you're passionate about. And let's figure out how to turn that into a useful something, service, product, whatever. And the money will follow. It'll find you. I guarantee it. That's the end of the Mastery segment, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go to a quick break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit about your body and your bank account. I'm Daron C. Campbell, the hardest working man in real estate. I am your real estate mentor. This is the Road to a Million show, and we'll be back in a few. All right. We are back. Welcome back to the Road to a Million show. This is Daron C. Campbell, the hardest working man in real estate, your real estate mentor. And we are here talking today about a lot of good stuff. We just spent the whole brain section of the show on mastery, the art of mastery, kind of like the science of mastery, the process of mastery. It was a lot of fun. If you missed it, you can go back and listen to the recording again, but I hope you heard it because it might have dropped a little bit of wisdom in the department of how to get better. And the way to ultimately reach your goals in life is to try to get a little bit better every day. If you can listen to a show like this and learn this much, then you got a little better today. And if you can read a good book, you can get a little bit better still. And if you can talk to a great mentor, you can get a little bit better still. And so that's the idea. The idea is growth. Tony Robbins says growth equals happiness. And you know what? That makes a lot of sense. When you're growing, you're excited. When you're growing, you feel good about yourself. When you're growing in one manner or another, you're getting better. You're improving yourself. And that's really what the whole game is all about. So every show, we try to tell you a little bit of something about your brain, your body, and your bank account. The 3 B's. We want to try to help you get better in all 3 departments, and that's our attempt. So we just finished the brain segment, which is all about mastery, how to get better and how to turn that mastery into money, maybe. How to monetize your mastery, and so I hope you learned a little bit. So now let's talk about physicality. Let's talk about this is the body section of the show. We talked about your brain. Let's talk about your body. I like to talk about, maintaining healthy weight. And when we talk about maintaining healthy weight, the reason that this is important is because obesity is an epidemic in this country, in a lot of countries, but particularly in the U.S. Obesity is at epidemic proportions. And so inside of this show and inside of my teachings and trainings, I try to maybe give you a little bit of a baby step or two you could take that might change your physicality over time in a magnificent way, maybe even a phenomenal, a spectacular way. And so just like we talked about mastery, taking 10,000 hours to achieve, 10,000 hours. But guess what? Great health and incredible physicality is not much different. It's something you have to live. It's a life. It's a lifestyle. It's a process. And I was just talking to the team in here about gyms and gym memberships. And don't you love how every January the gyms are full. Every January, the memberships are flying off the shelf. Everybody's going to go join the next gym. Everyone's going to get healthy and get fit. Everyone's going to get buff. And here's what happens. Here's the process. You join in January. Oh, I'm doing it, girl. I am doing it. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to get my sexy back. And they join the gym membership. And they go tell everybody, yeah, girl, I joined Equinox. Yeah, man, I joined He-Man Gym. Yeah, man, I'm going to be buffing out every day. They go buy some new gym clothes. You go to the Nike store. You pick up $500 worth of new gym clothes. So you got the cute stuff and all the matching stuff. And you got the new gym membership. And it's around January 8th or 9th because you were going to start on the 1st, but, it's a lot of football on that day. So you got to eat some cabbage. And what do you eat on New Year's Day? For good luck, I don't know. You got to ask some Southern folks. They'll tell you. Pork roast and cabbage. I don't know if you eat that stuff, but that's just like some kind of Southern tradition. So you didn't go to the gym on January 1st because you were watching football. And January 2nd, you're like, well, I'll start at the beginning of the week. And that was on a Thursday. So you're going to wait till the 4th or 5th. All right. So you make your first trip to the gym in the first week of January, second week of January. And you get in there. And you pictured yourself, like in your mind, you saw yourself on the treadmill running for about an hour. You're going to do about 5 or 6 miles. But when you got on that treadmill, you're like, whoo, about 5 minutes later, you're like, ooh, this is kind of tough. And so you said, all right, I'm going to run next time. So you got off the treadmill and you went to the bench press. And then you put a couple of plates on there and you're ready to hit those weights. And you hit the weights once or twice and like, wait a minute. That's a little harder than I thought it was. Hold on. Why don't I go to the machines? I'm going to go to the machines. You go over to the machines and you go, ooh, man, I'm a little tight. I'm out of practice. So you do a couple sets on the machine and you're like, woo, that was it for one day. That's a good workout. And then you go home. You tell everybody you went to the gym. Yeah, I started at the gym. Yep, I'm ready. And the next morning you woke up, you could barely move. You got a Charlie horse in the middle of the night, and you could barely move the next morning. You were so sore. You're like, oh, I'm going to take today off so I can recover. I'm a little sore. So anyway, this process continues. You go to the gym most of the month of January, and by the time February rolls around, you're not all yoked out and you don't have a six-pack yet, and you're a little disappointed in that gym. You're like, man, that gym is nothing. That gym is no good. I need a trainer. I think I need a trainer. So then you go hire a trainer like my man Nick. You pay $75 an hour to the trainer. And then when that trainer chastises you for skipping 2 days this week, then you get mad at the trainer. Now, that trainer, he's a jerk. He's too tough. He thinks who does he think he is telling me what I could do? I'm paying him. I'm the client. And then you fire the trainer. You stop going to see the trainer. And then you feel guilty about quitting on the trainer, so you don't go to the gym in the month of March because you can't face the trainer. You can't face the music. Now, January came and went. You showed up. February, you had the trainer. You fired him. March came and you don't have a six-pack and you're not all gunned up yet. So guess what you do? Nothing. You stop going to the gym. And all those people who had those resolutions, I bet you Nick could tell you this. By March, 40% of them are done. They're still paying, by the way, but they're done showing up at the gym. You might catch them on a random Saturday afternoon after eating 8 pounds of cheesecake the night before, but the gym thing is over for them. So listen, I told you that big, long evolutionary tale because that's what happens to most people when it comes to trying to be fit or get in shape. And the fact is, ladies and gentlemen, it is a process and it is a lifestyle change. You got to make a decision about fitness and health. And it applies when you're working out and the way you're going to work out and how often you're going to work out. And it applies to what you put in your mouth. Both of these things take a certain amount of commitment to a lifestyle. It's not, hey, I'm going to hit the gym tomorrow, so tonight I could eat, the half of a sweet potato pie. It doesn't work that way. And too many of us think that we can go and repent tomorrow for what we ate for the last 10 days. A lot of people think they can eat terribly for a week or 2 weeks in a row and go to the gym one time and work it all off. It just doesn't work that way, ladies and gentlemen. So what I want to do is I want to give you some little baby steps so that you can maybe gradually shift your lifestyle and as a result, shift your life. So let's talk about the working out thing. Now, I'm no personal trainer, so I'm not even pretending to tell you how to train. But what I will say to you is, why don't you make yourself a commitment to do some type of a workout 3 times a week? You see, a lot of times we dive in too deep and we burn ourselves out. I'm going to go to the gym, and you want to go every day. I'm going, and you go every day for 7 days in a row. And what you've experienced shortly thereafter is burnout. You try to do it all overnight, and burnout in anything will result in ultimate failure because you won't continue because you associate misery with the process. If you do something and make it interesting and fun, but don't overwhelm yourself with it, you might be able to stick with it. And the key to this is a marathon, not a sprint. You need a lifestyle change, not an overnight change. So why don't you commit just the way you commit to your favorite TV show, or you commit to, you commit to playing poker with the fellas once a week. Why don't you commit to getting yourself a decent workout just 3 times a week? Just baby steps. And now let's talk about the food department. Let me give you a little factoid before I start to attack the foods you like the most. Okay, so obesity is the biggest culprit in the world of obesity is sugar. Sugar, ladies and gentlemen. I think I told you this before. Sugar is the devil. And there's a great book called The Sugar Blues I've recommended to you a couple of times that you should read because it'll change the way you think about sugar. But anyway, let's talk about it. So sugar affects insulin. Let me give you the little daisy chain about insulin. Let's talk about insulin. Now, sugar affects your insulin. Remember that. That's the first fundamental. But insulin controls, insulin is what controls the way your body changes calories to fat. And then insulin causes your body to store fat instead of burning it for fuel. Insulin changes the way your body stores fat. Insulin encourages your body to store fat instead of burning it for energy. So, and where does it store this fat? Your belly, your hips, your thighs. That's where insulin encourages your body to stash this fat that it just told it to stop burning. Insulin. And so now your body's not burning fat. Insulin is telling your body, turn off the fat burn thing and let's just burn carbohydrates. Let's just burn sugar. But the fat's still storing up. So carbohydrates drive up your insulin. So ladies and gentlemen, you got to be careful about foods that are high in carbohydrates. Everything with a bunch of sugar in it is high in carbohydrates. And there's a whole lot of things that are sneaky carbohydrates. Lots of pastas and rice and things like that. You just got to be careful. I'm not going to ever say to you, don't ever. You won't hear me say don't ever. I'm not going to tell you don't ever eat a little bit of dessert. Don't ever eat any kind of pasta or bread. I won't say that to you because I don't believe you have to put yourself in any kind of a box or a prison and tell yourself you can't have some of the things that make life interesting or fun. I won't say don't ever, but I will say moderation is key. And when you know something has a negative effect on yourself, then you got to practice moderation. Like, I won't tell you don't have a cocktail. Hey, I, for one, love a good cocktail like anybody else. But I will say too many of them is to your detriment. I won't tell you don't eat carbohydrates, but too much of it is to your detriment. I won't tell you do not consume sugar, but I will tell you a lot of it is terrible for you. So if you can just have some of these, signs along the road of life that tell you, hey, look, danger ahead. Like I'm giving you a sign right now, too much sugar, danger ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Too much sugar, too many carbs. They make you fat. They give you they lead to diabetes. Somebody I just read recently, and I'll find the book and tell you about it, said that Alzheimer's disease is diabetes of the brain. Whoa. That's deep. I'm going to tell you who said it. Matter of fact, I'm in the middle of a really good book. It's called The Biohacker's Guide by Anthony D. Clementi. See that? I don't know if you can see that. But it's called The Biohacker's Guide by Anthony D. Clementi. Don't be intimidated because it is 506 pages. But I'll give you I'll give you the finer points. I'm in the middle of it right now. But just point number one is that Alzheimer's disease is diabetes of the brain. Now, if that's not deep, I don't know what is. Think about it. The Biohacker's Guide. Oh, let me finish the title. It's called The Biohacker's Guide to Upgraded Energy and Focus. So, get that book if you get a chance. If not, I'll be telling you more about it. Hey, Nick, I'm really loud in here. Okay, now I'm down. Now I don't hear myself at all. There we go. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's a little bit about your body and how to get better, how to make it better, how to grow. It's a process. Remember, we're in a marathon, not a sprint. So do something a little bit to tweak your lifestyle, a little bit to tweak your life a little bit, And I think you'll be glad you did. All right. When we come back, I am going to talk to you a little bit about financial responsibility, fiscal responsibility, your financial health, and that will be segment 3 of the show. We spent most of it today on the brain, the art of mastery. I just told you a little bit about your body. We talked about insulin. We talked about weight. We talked about working out. And we're going to come back and talk a little bit about your money and your bank account. I'm Daron C. Campbell, the hardest working man in real estate. I am your real estate mentor. And we'll be back in 2 minutes. Whew. And we are back on the Road to a Million show with Daron C. Campbell, your host. I'm the hardest working man in real estate. I am your real estate mentor. I'm also the leader of the financial revolution. What are we trying to do? We're trying to turn it around for some people. We're trying to give you a little bit of practical wisdom in all the important departments of life to try to help each other get better. We want to talk about your brain, we want to talk about your body, and we want to talk about your bank account. Those are the 3 B's, and if we can help you get a little bit better each day, each show, then I think we've done each other some good. I enjoy talking about this stuff. I got a background in real estate. I want to be clear, I am nobody's personal trainer. I am nobody's dietitian, but I am here to tell, and I'm nobody's lawyer or accountant either, but I'm here to tell you that there's some things, there's some simple wisdom, ideas and concepts that I'm here to share. And fortunately, you're listening and willing to take a little bit of advice from somebody who's messed up and been around the track 20 times and screwed up 15 of them. And so I'm just trying to help you learn from my mistakes. And if somebody had talked to me like this 30 years ago, I'd be in a way better place than I am now. And so if you can take a pearl or two of wisdom and apply it to your life, then maybe 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you'll be way down the road and you'll be glad you did. All right. We talked about your brain, That was all about mastery and how to become a master of something. And we talked about your body. We talked about eating right. We talked about working out. We talked about minimizing sugar and carbohydrates. And now we're going to talk about your money a little bit. And you know I love ranting about money. But recently, in recent episodes, recent shows, we talked about good debt and bad debt and how you want to make three major moves over maybe the course of a year or two, and it'll change the trajectory of your entire life. And those three things are: 1, reduce bad debt. And we've been over what bad debt is. It's that consumer debt. It's that expensive debt. It's that 15, 16, 18, 20% credit card. Oh my God. Is that what's going on in your life? You got to reduce that debt. It's important. Secondly, you got to work on your credit. You need good credit. We got to get to the point where you got good credit, because people with good credit, they get all the breaks in the financial world. People with good credit, they pay less for everything than you do. Oh, that doesn't even seem fair. Seems like the people with bad credit ought to get a discount. Nope. The people with good credit pay less for everything than the people with bad credit. So your credit is important. Credit will serve you in ways you can't even imagine. People are using credit to do remarkable things, to leverage themselves and springboard to the next rung on the ladder in life. You got to have your credit together. It's important. And don't just blow it off like it's no big deal. No big deal. I'll just pay cash. Well, come on. Don't be stupid. Credit is important. Don't be an idiot. Credit is key. Credit is essential to financial growth and being able to climb the financial ladder. So step number 2 is you got to improve your credit. And once you've reduced bad debt and gotten good credit, then you can move on to step number 3, which is the only debt you really should have is mortgage debt. And if you strategically take on the right kind of mortgages, you can grow yourself to a millionaire status in short order. Put those 3 pieces in place, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to help you get there. I'm going to bring somebody on the show Thursday that's going to tell you about financial planning and how to grow using financial vehicles like insurance, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of things he knows. He'll teach you. He's going to be teaching me at the same time, and he's going to be on the show. My man Marty Sassoon will be here with us on Thursday, so tune in for that. It's going to be very informative. And then next week, I'm going to bring in a mortgage specialist. I'm going to talk to you about how to get a mortgage for cheap. I'm going to show you how to get it. I'm going to talk to you about how to buy a home and use 0 down payment. I'm going to show you how to get a stated income loan where you tell them what you make and you fill out the documentation, and that's it. They approve you for the loan 9 times out of 10. There's a lot of ways to grow yourself financially, and I plan to expose you to some people. I'm going to bring some guests on this show to help expose you to some of those things that are sometimes a little more sophisticated than what you know about. Sometimes there's an avenue to get somewhere that nobody ever told you. Do you know that there are a lot of people out there who bought annuities 10 years ago, and then now they're able to retire from their jobs with a steady monthly income of $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 a month just by buying an annuity a few years ago? Did you know about the annuity game? Do you know that exists? Do you know that you can go and purchase an annuity today and put a small amount in for the next 5 to 10 years, and at the end of that period of time, you can walk away with thousands of dollars a month for life? Did you know that exists? Did you know that you could have that too? It's not just for the rich and famous. I'm going to bring some people here that can show you how to do this kind of stuff. So now, just in one move we can all make. I should call a segment of that show, the end of the show, one move we can all make. Here's what I want you to do. One move you can make immediately. Tonight, you can go and pull out all your credit card statements, and I know the average person has 4 credit cards, so I'm going to assume you got 4. Go get all your credit card invoices out. Go get any consumer loan you have, whether that's a store credit card or it's a payday loan that you've been paying on for the last 30 paydays, or if it's whatever, store card, Visa, MasterCard, Amex. Go get all your credit cards out. Let's look at the statements. Look at the statements. Let's look at the interest rate you're paying. I'm going to challenge you over the next 6 to 12 months. I want you to take the most expensive of those credit cards, meaning the one that's charging you the highest level of interest, and I want you to stop using it. Now, I'm not going to tell you to cut it up. Yes, I am. No, okay. Let's just put it away. Hide it from yourself. Pay the bill, pay it down, pay a little extra on the bill each month, and let's make that card go away. Or at least let's make that card go to zero. You don't have to give up the credit. I want you to give up the balance. So let's chop that down. Let's get rid of that most expensive card. In most cases, the average person's most expensive card is over 15%. Do you hear me? 15%? That credit card company is raping you. And you're paying it with a smile on your face every month. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, you're getting abused financially. Let's stop the abuse. Let's take the most pricey credit card, the one with the highest interest rate, and let's eliminate it. Now, let me tell you what the big goal is. Here's what the big goal is. If the average man, woman, and child has $8,000 worth of consumer debt, that means the average household's got somewhere in the neighborhood of $32,000 worth of consumer debt. If that very same consumer debt did not exist, your ability to pay a significant amount of that towards a mortgage would go up dramatically. If you don't own a home, but you got 4 credit cards averaging $32,000 in debt, do you see how you're slowing yourself down from succeeding? You see how you're slowing yourself down from climbing the financial ladder? 4 credit cards are taking you down, man. What we want to do is get to the point where the debt that we have is mortgage debt. Now, let me give you a quick reason that makes sense. You'd rather be paying interest to own a home than to own a pair of shoes. You know why? Because that credit card I told you about, that's 15% interest. You could have that same amount of debt in a mortgage, and the interest would be 4%. So this is why a lot of financial consolidators or a lot of financial planners will say, let's take out a small refinance or a HELOC on your property and get rid of all your consumer credit cards. Oh, wow, what a tactic. Okay, let me tell you what a HELOC is. Home equity line of credit. So those of you that own a home, but you also have a lot of consumer debt, you might want to consider looking at a refinance or a second loan or a home equity line of credit. Any one of these vehicles you could pull a little bit of money out, enough to get rid of the credit cards, because the average credit card is 10, 11, 12, 15%, and you could refinance it and put that debt on the house instead, and the average mortgage debt is 4%. You see the difference? Same money, 4% interest versus 15% interest. Now, that's the third step. But the first step is let's start getting rid of the expensive debt. So let's take step 1 and start knocking down that credit card debt. It's choking you. It's killing you. I'm telling you, a lot of people are being prevented from owning homes because their consumer debt is eating up all the money. And when I tell you that we're in a shift in the economy, and I tell you that things are changing, what I'm also telling you is things like real estate and assets of that nature go on sale during a downturn in the market. Do you understand that house that you could have bought for $500,000 last year, next year might be $420,000? Do you realize real estate goes on sale during a recession? So now watch. Keep an eye out. We've got a market that has gone up for 10 straight years, right? We've also got a little bit of instability in the world. There's some weird stuff happening out there, right? We've also got a kind of a funky situation going on in Washington, D.C., don't we? Now watch how all the stars line up to create an opportunity for a big pullback in the market. You kind of see the Dow Jones jumping up and down, up one day, down the next, up one day, down the next, right? You also see some instability in other parts of the world, right? You also see a political climate right here in our own country that's a little bit questionable, right? Ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you there's a formula out there for a big downturn in the economy, trust me when I tell you, the writing is on the wall. There doesn't have to be a whole lot of things that happen for us to see a major correction in the market. Am I saying gloom and doom, we're going into a depression? No, that's not what Daron Campbell is saying. But am I saying that we are looking at a potential major downturn in the economy? Now, the bad thing is jobs will be lost, properties will be lost, foreclosures will happen. The upside, the opportunity is real estate and other assets go on sale. Will you be ready to take advantage? I want to get you ready. I want to have you ready so you don't have to get ready. I don't want you to be one of those people who wakes up and goes, what happened? I want you to be one of the people that makes something happen. You could become wealthy during this next recession. I want to help you do it. Ladies and gentlemen, have we had fun? That's the fastest 2 hours of my life. I'm Daron C. Campbell. I'm your real estate mentor. I will see all of you at the top. Make it a great day, everybody. Peace. Whew.